Let us enter into worship with the words of Heidi Cottam. Let us be a faith that gathers, reaching for one another through the walls of hate others build, through the cages of ignorance and arrogance, and through the fear that burns city streets. Let us be a faith that sees a vision of a better world, more compassionate, more just, more holy, and with more love. There is a faith that binds up the broken, cauterizes battle wounds with the balm of peace, sings louder and longer than the trumpets of war. Let us be that faith too. Let us be the ones who do not tread lightly in this world, but light it up with our love. Hold it up with a mirror of worth and dignity, who are the sanctuary others seek. But first, let us be a faith that worships together, here, this morning, in this space, in this moment. Let us be this faith. Come, let us worship together. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to join our voices in our opening hymn, number 38, "And the Gray Hymnal Morning Has Broken," with a gentle reminder that our chanting COVID guidelines ask you to mask while singing.
Please remain standing as Amira Eldenary lights our chalice with words of inspiration by Audette Fulbright Folson. This light we kindle is set in the lamp of our history. We inherit this free faith from the brave and gentle, fierce and outspoken hearts and minds that have come before us. Let us be worthy inheritors of this faith, and through our good works, pass it boldly to a new generation.
Good morning. Good to see all of you. It is now time for our stories for all ages. Oops. Trying all things multi-platform today. It is now time for our story for all ages. I invite you to gather around as we hear a story from our Spirit Play Lessons, Dangerous Journey, the Idea of One God, adapted from the Dangerous Journey of the First UUs by Connie Dunn. When people are different or have different ideas, it is often dangerous for them. This story takes place a long time ago, when there were kings or emperors that led their countries. The people were required to go to the church that the king or emperor chose. It didn't matter what the people believed. Some people understood differently about God, or what we might see as a spirit of love, justice, or truth, or the spirit of mystery. The church leaders did not like it when people believed differently, and often they put people in jail. Michael Servetus did not agree with the church leaders. The leaders insisted that God was three things: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But Michael Servetus did not agree. He strongly felt that God was one source and not three. Michael Servetus wanted others to hear about his Unitarian ideas. But the leaders of the church that the king supported branded him a heretic. Now, a heretic is simply a person who holds a different opinion. But there was no room in the king's church for someone with different ideas. In fact, the leaders wanted him dead so that his ideas would not spread. Michael Servetus was burned at the stake. But Michael Servetus' ideas did not die. Others took up those ideas. Francis de Bede was someone who took up the idea of Unitarianism, or that God was one thing, not three. Francis de Bede went to Transylvania and convinced King Sun to become Unitarian. Francis de Bede also asked King Sun to allow people to believe their own ideas of religion. So King Sun put out a decree that no one shall be made to suffer on account of religion. Transylvania was the first place in the world to have freedom of religious belief. But things did not stay that way for long. King Sun died in an accident, and the next ruler did not believe in religious freedom. He also did not want Francis de Bede to speak about his heretical ideas, so he threw Francis de Bede into a dungeon. Fortunately, some of de Bede's followers continued the churches, but Francis de Bede was never freed from prison, and he died there. However, Transylvania, which is now part of Czechoslovakia, still has Unitarian churches. These are the oldest Unitarian churches in the world. So I wonder if you have ever had ideas that others think are different. I wonder what you can do to help others be more accepting. Thanks for listening. Please now remain seated for our musical response, the more we get to gather the words are printed in your order of service. Please remain seated for our prayer hymn, number 123 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life. May we in this sacred space light a candle of compassion for our beloveds Sherry and Doug. And these final months they say goodbye to their treasured friend Billy, who will soon leave this realm. May all of those living in sorrow and anticipation be held in the loving embrace of our sacred community. May Billy know peace in his final days. In the silence that follows the spoken prayer, you are invited to come forward and light a candle for whatever you hold in your heart. Spirit of love and life, we gather here today as in every day with joys in our hearts and sorrows in our souls, held in the sacred love, the holy embrace of all that is, bound with the ancestors and our descendants and each breathing creature in our web of life, by the holy strands of that which connects to all of eternity, by the intricate threads of transcendent love of the infinite. May we in this moment be reminded of what we hold true, beautiful, and sacred, that still small voice within, the call of nature reminding us to pause and be with all that is, and the connection to the sacred unknowable to which we lift our prayers in this holy moment of silence. In our sorrows and in our grief, in our mistakes and in our transgressions, in that which breaks our souls and that which begs us to seek forgiveness, may we not forget the goodness held deep in our being, that worthiness held within each of us, granted us at birth by the sacred of our faith tradition. And as we center in faith and connect to the holy, may we never forget to doubt and question, never hold a faith unequivocally true, for in our intimate inquiries we find beauty, strength, and a deeper truth. And in this beauty and in this strength, may we remember to to strengthen the strands of our web of life, tending to that which stretches across eternity. May we love. May it be so, and amen. I now light a final candle for all else that remains in our hearts and on our minds this morning. If your heart is hurting, know that your community is here to help, as am I. Please reach out with any needs.
Historically, Unitarian Universalists have resisted top-down authority structures. Instead, our Association of Congregations covenant to support one another in practicing our principles and values. Because each congregation is independent, we are self-supporting through the financial contributions of our members. Each Sunday, we dedicate part of our worship service to the collection of an offering, to remind ourselves of this freedom and responsibility, and to acknowledge generosity as part of our spiritual practice. For those of you watching the service online, you may contribute to a virtual offering plate using the donate button on our website or by mailing a check to the church office. If you're joining on Zoom, the addresses will be posted in the chat box. I now invite the ushers forward to pass the offering plates. For all that you give and all that you do for our church community and its wider concerns, we give thanks. The Oversoul by Ralph Waldo Emerson, a Unitarian. Let us learn the revelation of all nature and thought, that the highest dwells within us, that the sources of nature are in our own minds. As there is no screen or ceiling between our heads and the infinite heavens, so there is no bar or wall in the soul where we, the effect, cease, and God, the cause, begins. I am constrained every moment to acknowledge a higher origin for events than the will I call mine. There is deep power in which we exist and whose beatitude is accessible to us. Every moment when the individual feels invaded by it is memorable. It comes to the lowly and simple. It comes to whosoever will put off what is foreign and proud. It comes as insight. It comes as serenity and grandeur. The soul's health consists in the fullness of its reception. Forever and ever, the influx of this better and more universal self is new and unsearchable. Within us is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. When it breaks through our intellect, it is genius. When it breathes through our will, it is virtue. When it flows through our affection, it is love. Cherish Your Doubts by Unitarian Universalist minister Robert T. Weston. Cherish your doubts, for doubt is the attendant of truth. Doubt is the key to the door of knowledge. It is the servant of discovery. A belief which may not be questioned binds us to error, for there is incompleteness and imperfection in every belief. Doubt is the touchstone of truth. It is an acid which eats away the false. Let no one fear for the truth, that doubt may consume it, for doubt is a testing of belief. The truth, if it be true, arises from each testing stronger, more secure. Those that would silence doubt are filled with fear. Their houses are built on shifting sands. But those who fear not doubt and know its use are founded on rock. They shall walk in the light of growing knowledge. The work of their hands shall endure. Therefore, let us not fear doubt, but let us rejoice in its help. It is to the wise as a staff to the blind. Doubt is the attendant of truth. Please rise in body or spirit to join our voices in hymn number 34 in the gray hymnal, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
We are a faith made sacred by our acts of resistance. Within this space made holy by our presence, within our meditations in nature, our prayers to God, our celebrations of the goddess. Within our very veins as a community of believers, we hold resistance because our faith is solidified by doubt. No theology nor belief is ever unequivocally true. We hold resistance because we question the status quo, that of the theology of the present day and that of the well-being of the least of these. We hold resistance because we strive to offer love when hate is so easy. We strive to offer peace and compassion when bigotry runs rampant. We hold resistance because we create a community, a beloved community, a kingdom of heaven made tangible in this realm, where all are welcome, where all are holy, where all are good. Through these seeds of resistance blossoms the fruits of Unitarian Universalism, a religion that forgives, empowers, loves, and sustains. And so, together today, let us embark upon a journey charting the course of Unitarian Universalism, voyaging from the creation of the liberal theology that grounds us, to the doubt that this faith espouses, to the love that blossoms from the kernels of these beliefs and doubts, to the beloved community that calls this love to help us create. And as we begin this expedition, let us start with a note on language. Both our Unitarian and Universalist ancestors understood the sacred through the lens of the Christian God. And so that is the language I use today. In this day and time, we are blessed with a wealth of theologies and understandings of the sacred. I invite you to connect with whatever is held holy in your heart. And so, our forebears crafted a liberal, radical religion, one of resistance. If I think of a theology that is antithetical to my own beliefs, it is the same dogma that sparked the energy and enthusiasm of both Unitarianism and Universalism in the 16th century, the tenets of Calvinism. John Calvin, the founder of this branch of Protestant Christianity, wrote with what I imagine to be great confidence and tremendous fear: we are in God's sight defiled and polluted. What does this sentiment spark in your blood and your bones? In the faith created from this theologian, we are born corrupt and depraved. To followers of Calvinism, God predetermines who is saved and who is damned, sending unassuming Christians to hell arbitrarily. When I hear this, I am called to resist just as our forebears did. What is a life centered in damnation and depravity, when a theology of love and forgiveness is within our grasp? When Calvinists proclaimed inherent defilement and sin, Unitarians affirmed inherent goodness and worth. When Calvinists claimed damnation, Universalists asserted divine forgiveness. So, our Universalist resistors, what does universal salvation mean to those who have passed away and left this realm? No one is damned, neither the unassuming nor those who have done wrong. Those who committed crimes in order to survive will never meet the pits of damnation. Those who lived lives that some faiths would deem sinful reside not in eternal despair, but in unceasing love. This is Universalist theology, that which espouses a sacred entity who damns no one, but forgives all. a God who is not indifferent to wrongdoings nor unaware of the pain in the lives of mortals, but who can grasp an understanding of forgiveness on a level that perhaps no finite being can. This makes me wonder who benefits from a belief in hell. This question sparked an all-embracing theology in our Unitarian ancestors. We are not a people who live lives of service, compassion, and love because we anticipate otherworldly damnation or salvation. We live lives of empathy and care because goodness is inherent within each of us. No matter what our transgressions, we are good, whole, and worthy. And yet let us carefully lift up a caveat, for our faith is not one of the vengeful or the unabashedly criminal, of the oppressors or the evildoers. We are forgiven, yes, but we are also called to listen to the sacred within and beyond us, to do good, to repair relationships, to make reparations. We are called to embody that goodness and wholeness we were granted as we entered this realm. So much of what we espouse as Unitarian Universalists is pulled in opposition from or in resistance to widespread Christian beliefs. We are saved and good, yes. We are forgiven of our wrongdoings from our God of many names. We are not products of a mythological story of original sin, but are good and worthy inherently. Furthermore, Jesus is not divine, but fully human, and to me, this makes his actions and teachings even more powerful. It was not a divine power who cared so greatly that the ailments of the ostracized were healed, but a man who was fully human. It was not an entity who taught stories of radical love that echo throughout the millennia, but a person fully human, just as we each are. This belief was initially heretical. This belief made Michael Servetus, a 15th century Unitarian who rebuked the Trinity, into a martyr who was burned at the stake for this theology. So what allowed for these radical beliefs? What nurtured into being these tenets that some understood as heresy? Our life-giving theology arises from our commitment to doubt. Our biggest act of resistance is doubting that which others accept as irrevocably true. Let us hear the wisdom of Unitarian Universalist minister Robert T. Weston. Cherish your doubts, for doubt is the attendance of truth. A belief which may not be questioned binds us to error, for there is incompleteness and imperfection in every belief. What if no one questioned an all-powerful God who arbitrarily damned people? We would not have the truth we hold at our core, that the sacred is good and loving. Instead, our sacred would be something to fear. What if no one questioned the doctrine of original sin? We would live each of our days entrapped within an evil we did not commit. What if no one doubted the basic tenets of Christianity birthed 2,000 years ago? Unitarian Universalism would never have come to fruition. We have today a beautiful, imperfect faith. We are called to continue to doubt as our descendants pave the way for even greater beauty, as our individual journeys for truth and meaning continue to unfold. It is my firmly held belief that the basic theology of Unitarian Universalism calls each of us to live lives of resistance through our commitment to love. Let us pause for a moment to draw inspiration from the work of our prophets Mahatma Gandhi and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., two revolutionaries who met hate, anger, and violence with non-violent, peaceful movements founded on unconditional, all-encompassing love. stories that emphatically demonstrate to each of us the transformational power of love. To sum this up in one simple phrase, love is stronger and more powerful than hate, prejudice, and violence ever will be. And there are smaller, more applicable, and yet no less meaningful acts of love that serve as resistance each day by those humble, largely unknown beloveds who share our faith. Those of justice, yes, and those of simple, unconditional compassion. I carry treasured stories in my heart just as each of us do. That of the peace and solace offered by the first Unitarian Universalist minister I ever had a conversation with, promising me that my aunt, who had taken her own life, was held in the loving embrace of the sacred, not damned. Or of the Unitarian Universalist baby boomer who knew the anxiety I held within and taught me a scripted dance to Bob Marley's Don't Worry, Be Happy. Or the young man I met at a Unitarian Universalist young adult retreat nearly a decade ago, whose unconditional love shaped and molded me into the woman I am today, my cherished husband. Their love served as resistance to despair, hopelessness, anxiety, and loneliness. They could have easily met me with indifference or disregard, but they intentionally chose not to. They were grounded in this faith of divine and mortal love. Held firm in this faith that espouses a love that is both sacred and profane is the idea of beloved community, what I liken to a kingdom of heaven made tangible in this realm. Let us take this idea of beloved community one step beyond its traditional meaning of equality, entering in the territory of our specific faith community. What to us is the kingdom of heaven? It is not a realm floating above us where angels play music on harps and those who are devout and respectable rest in all that is good. No. The kingdom of heaven is where each and every person is welcomed and celebrated for just who they are. This is where we resist the status quo, where the least of these reside with all of these, and the marginalized are centered and inequality is non-existent. The kingdom of heaven is where those who fell from grace reconnect with goodness and worthiness held deep in their core, where divine forgiveness allows those who have done wrong to make it right. A lofty idea, and one that is perhaps not within our grasp as we meet daily with the anger and violence of hurt, hateful, or fearful people. And yet this is my understanding of the kingdom of Unitarian Universalism. Our faith of resistance. A kingdom created when unconditional love is held at the center of all deeds and actions. And with the short time we have in this realm, we are called to help create it. So may we bring our theologies, our love, our doubts, and our goodness to the world, making tangible a place where the oppressed are freed, where the marginalized are deemed worthy, where the hardest of hearts are softened, and those who have caused pain lay bare their souls, repair harm done, and coexist with the rest. May we love, may we resist, this day and every day. May it be so, and amen. Please rise in body or in spirit for hymn number 1015, I Know I Can, in the teal hymnal. May we leave this space held in the embrace of beauty, love, and compassion of all we hold sacred, carrying with us the lights of our chalice flame to illuminate the shadows of the world beyond our doors. May we worship, may we doubt, may we love, ushering into this realm the kingdom of heaven. For it rests upon our shoulders the need to heal an aching world. It rests in our hearts the need to give and receive blessed love. So may we love. May we go in peace, and amen.